What's good, YouTube, man? Look, welcome back to the channel. We got, what is this? Top 10 most tragic,
Crazy.
10 most tragic incidents. I see my boy Flight reacting to this, bro. And this channel was like damn nearly brand new. It's like what? Let me see. Let me check it out. Shout out Echoes, man. Shout out Echoes. They got 85 videos and already at 200,000 subscribers, bro. That's crazy.
I'm
Make sure y'all
TikTok.
Make sure y'all subscribe on the game.
I'm going on with our
about a
setup,
series
bro.
of tragic events
Headphones
that left
popping out.
ordinary people face to face with an inevitable end. So, viewer discretion is advised.
Make sure you
On
talk up
March
in the
1st,
mic too, by the way.
2024, Sydney was driving her work truck across the Clark Memorial Bridge near Louisville. At the same time, 33-year-old Trevor Brandon,
this some real
whose
shit.
license had recently been revoked, was maneuvering around a stalled car when he
This
swerved
dumb
into
motherfucker I seen on Instagram.
crashed into the truck, a sedan, and finally
Remember seeing this on
a semi.
Instagram?
Meanwhile,
I seen this on
Sydney,
Instagram.
after narrowly avoiding the accident, was left dangling over the river,
Remember that?
inches from the fatal outcome.
Yeah, you remember
She
that?
pressed the brake pedal as hard as she could, frozen in place, terrified that any moment would send her plunging into the depths. Even if she survived the fall, she
Dog.
would certainly drown because she couldn't swim. Every minute felt like an eternity to
This
Sydney.
It's just like, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like once I have a
That was some
kid,
Spider-Man. Come see
I got man, no cap. Save me, Spider-Man, save me.
Peter. Where's Peter?
But no, on some real shit, I gotta teach my kids how to swim because black people, trust me, I barely know how to swim, so I'm cooked too. This shit just crazy. It's just running our DNA.
And 40 minutes passed before help finally arrived. It was a dangerous, extremely complicated rescue operation.
Spider-Man.
But thankfully, disaster was avoided, and Sydney
She
was
got
eventually
lucky.
saved. As for Branham, the pickup driver, he now faces a list of charges and will answer in court.
Stupid
He still
ass
won't be
nigga.
charged with
Good
involuntary
records.
manslaughter. Sydney, though, vowed never to cross that cursed bridge again. Unfortunately, not everyone is as lucky when it comes to learning from
Damn.
close calls.
Vin Diesel, huh?
Wu
Family.
Bin, a Chinese resident, had almost a decade of experience as a long-distance passenger bus driver.
Wait, so
He
more people
logged
died on this
nearly
bridge?
1 million kilometers without a single accident
second
or
story.
complaint from passengers. That's about 25 times around the Earth's equator. However, on May 29th, 2012, Wu Bin became a true hero. As usual, he was driving his bus when passengers
saved the
suddenly
day.
heard a loud crash. Wu slowly brought the bus to a stop and addressed the people inside. But they noticed he was
Crazy
deathly
artist is on
pale
camera.
and barely standing. Wu instructed everyone to carefully exit the bus and then fell silent. What the passengers hadn't seen was that just moments earlier, a massive piece of debris had crashed into the
Damn.
windshield, hitting Wu in the stomach and arms. It was a nearly 2-meter-long metal plate. that
Damn.
shattered Wu's ribs and shredded his liver. Despite the excruciating pain, he saved the lives of 24 passengers by managing
This
to safely
nigga a
stop the
G.
bus. Sadly, Wu passed away 4 days later in the
Damn.
hospital.
Only
It
Wu.
turned out the metal piece that had so suddenly struck him was part of a truck's brake pad. While the police conducted their investigation, news of Wu Bin's heroic actions spread throughout the country.
Why that look like it's a mugshot? That nigga
3,000 people
said.
attended his
Bitch
funeral
ass nigga.
to pay their
That's
respects.
fucking
He was posthumously
crazy,
That's
bro.
crazy.
the highest
You
national
got
honor.
packed up with a
But this sacrifice
brake
wouldn't have been
pad.
necessary had someone taken better care of their vehicle. Much like the
Hey, man, y'all
catastrophic
gotta get
event
your
You just
brakes
can't do
fixed,
nothing.
man.
Fort Lauderdale.
You can't even do nothing about that.
On December 1st, 2018,
Brake
life in the town
pad.
was going on as usual.
Brake pad.
Eladio
A
Marquez,
fucking
a
brake
pilot
pad
and
killed
instructor with 10 years of experience, and his former student were preparing for another flight. They took off in their small Cessna, but just a few minutes later, they reported some alarming news to the control tower. Their left engine had caught
Look at the
fire.
edit.
Marquez received clearance for an emergency landing, but that landing never happened. A minute later, the plane crashed and exploded, hitting none other than a therapy center for children with autism. It was 2:22 p.m. when all 8 caregivers
Bro.
and 5 children heard the terrifying sound of the impact. The teachers managed to grab the kids and rush them to the exit just seconds before the flames engulfed the building.
No, that's
Thanks to the quick
crazy. That's
reaction.
crazy.
What's the
That's-
odds, bro? It couldn't have been a regular school.
That's crazy. Thank God, boy.
No
Woo.
one in the center was harmed. The police
Woo!
launched an investigation, but it seemed like the malfunctioning engine hadn't been given enough attention in the hangar. However, the chilling truth is that you don't have to be
I think I remember seeing this video on
Yeah.
Instagram.
It was a different angle.
British woman Elena Struthers Gardner had experienced 2 fatal falls in her life. At 21, she fell from a horse, sustaining a severe
Damn.
injury that left her disabled. From then on,
Damn.
due to her spinal deformity and coordination issues.
Hey, bro, you can't do
fell off.
nothing no more.
But despite this, Elena lived happily with her wife, Mandy, until she turned 60. Then, on November 22nd, 2018, Elena was at home drinking from her favorite glass with a metal straw. Mandy had always warned her to be careful, suspecting that these straws could be dangerous for people with limited mobility. And unfortunately, her fears came true. Out of nowhere, Elena lost her balance and fell, and the 8-inch metal straw went straight into her eye. She sustained a severe traumatic
No
brain
way.
injury and passed away the next day in the hospital. This is especially terrifying because no one is safe from such fatal accidents.
That's
though,
crazy.
tragedy
She should've
strikes
just took
when
that shit out the
everything seems to
crib.
be going perfectly. 23-year-old Peter Bioksong-Zuala had never been more nervous.
Damn.
His team,
Bioksong-Zuala.
Bethlehem Vangthlang,
That's a hard name
part
to
of
say.
an elite Indian amateur league, was about to take a free kick. In the 62nd minute, his teammate finally took the penalty shot. But when the goalkeeper deflected the ball, Peter dashed in for the rebound and scored. He immediately began celebrating with a series of victory flips. Yet after the second flip, he landed awkwardly, hit his head on the ground, and couldn't get back up. His teammates rushed over, quickly realizing something was terribly wrong.
Oh
At the
my
hospital,
God.
it was revealed that Peter had severely damaged his spinal cord. And despite the doctor's
This
best
type of
efforts,
shit
Peter
right there,
passed away.
that type of shit right there is just like, bro, what the fuck? You can't do nothing about that. He was excited, you feel me? Nigga, I just kicked a goal, nigga, won the game. He flipping, nigga. That's how I'll be doing that flipping shit.
Away later that day. This absurd tragedy confirmed that danger can literally be lurking right beneath our feet. This could have easily been the beginning of a horror movie. 83-year-old Dorothy Louise Downey arrived at a creepy old house on the edge of the woods in Salem. In reality,
sound
though,
nasty.
she was just there
So,
to help her
look
daughter.
at that
pack
bitch.
up
Like a
and
meth
finally
lab.
move out of the rundown
Look at that
place.
bitch, Salem.
Like
This bitch
Red
look like some
Dead-
shit out of
Red Dead.
Red Dead. No, motherfucking Hills Have Eyes. Wrong
However,
turn.
While in the kitchen, Dorothy accidentally stepped on a rotten section of the floor and fell through, disappearing completely beneath it. Her daughter rushed to help, only to be stunned by
fuck?
what she saw. Under the floor was a well,
What
nearly
the
15
fuck?
meters deep. She couldn't do anything to save her mother and called the rescue team. Even they needed 4 hours to recover Dorothy's
The fuck? Y'all
lifeless
got a
body
well
from
in the
narrow
middle of the
well.
floor.
Neither mother nor daughter had
Nigga, they was
any
throwing
idea
bodies in that
the shaft
bitch.
existed, and declaimed Dorothy's life just as she was visiting the house for the last time. This coincidence
Wow.
feels like the result of some curse, just like the next story. On the night of March 26th, 2024,
This
6
year.
construction workers were doing scheduled repairs on the Francis Scott Key Bridge near Baltimore. Meanwhile, a nearly 300-meter container ship, the Dolly, had
Damn,
just
that
left
did
the port
happen
of
this
Baltimore,
year.
heading for Sri Lanka.
This
There were
month.
21
Sri Lanka?
crew members on board.
Let me say Sri
Nikki.
Lanka.
Heading for
Nikki.
Sri Lanka.
Oh,
There were
Sri
21
Lanka.
crew
My
members
bad.
on
My
board.
bad.
There's
Eager
Nikki.
to finally go home, especially since the day before, the Dolly had started experiencing sudden electrical failures. And at exactly 1:24 a.m., as the ship approached the Francis Scott Key
Hey, we
Bridge,
clipping that.
the power went out again. The engines stopped, and the massive vessel began drifting with the current. The crew desperately tried to restore power and correct the course.
That was
Came
crazy.
Back exactly a minute later, but by then, the Dolly was dangerously close to one of the bridge's supports. The crew immediately
Fuck.
warned the
That
authorities
shit
that a
crazy.
disaster was imminent. The police managed to close the bridge to traffic just in time before the Dolly
God.
collided with the support. In just 20 seconds, the central arch of the bridge
What
was
the
gone.
fuck?
But no one had time to warn the 6 workers who suddenly found themselves trapped between tons of twisted metal and concrete. Now,
Damn.
plunging into the river's fast.
Someone they ass.
Rescue teams arrived quickly, but in the dead of night, with zero visibility, they couldn't do much. It wasn't until dawn that the true scale of the catastrophe became clear. One of the largest shipping channels in the U.S. was now completely blocked, leading to nearly
Everybody
$3
woke up like, what the
billion in
fuck?
damages. However,
This shit was crazy, bro. I remember, and the thing is, it was so many conspiracy
That's
theories
crazy.
behind this shit. Like, they planned this, and I'm like, bro, I don't know. This shit was crazy though.
However, the most horrifying part was that none of the workers survived. The last
Damn.
body was found and recovered by divers 6 weeks later. All 6 men were first-generation immigrants, hoping to achieve their American dream, and almost every one of them was a father of multiple children. Meanwhile,
Damn.
the Dolly crew remained unharmed. But for the rest of their lives, they'll know
Now
that
I
if
see
someone
why
had
it was a
insisted
conspiracy
on fixing
theory,
the
huh?
faulty electrical system,
They got all
those
the
6
seven
workers would still be
Migos.
alive. And the psychological torment can often be just as horrifying as physical pain. On January 2nd, 2024, Japanese woman Mika Yamaki was driving to the airport to pick up her husband. She was listening to the news on the radio when she suddenly heard that a disaster had occurred at the airport. And in the report, they mentioned the exact flight her husband was on. Just minutes earlier,
Jay
Flight
tired, y'all.
516, arriving from Sapporo, had requested permission to land at Tokyo's Haneda Airport. The controllers confirmed the landing, and the pilots guided the Airbus with its 379
like.
passengers onto the runway. At 5:46
One subscribe.
p.m. local time, Flight 516 touched down.
Comment.
Seconds later, the plane
below.
unexpectedly burst into flames,
Damn.
sending a massive fireball into the sky.
What is
The
going
Airbus
on,
continued to
bro?
slide down the runway, leaving a trail of fire and thick smoke behind. It was only then that the passengers realized something had gone horribly wrong. The cabin started filling with toxic smoke, and the flight
Whoa.
attendants called for an emergency evacuation. Meanwhile, panic-stricken Mika Yamaki started calling
I
her
thought she was gonna
husband.
say Mikael.
He answered. He was among the first to escape the inferno using the emergency slide. The rest of the passengers followed, while firefighters had already begun battling the flames. But as the minutes ticked by,
Damn.
the fire consumed more and more of the plane, requiring over 100 fire trucks to be deployed.
Damn.
Soon, the cause of the fire was
Imagine how
revealed.
many
It
planes
turned
got
out that
delayed
the
day.
massive Airbus
How
had
much money
collided
they
with a
missed out
tiny
on.
Coast Guard plane during landing, and both aircraft instantly caught fire. When terrified Mika finally arrived at the airport, she learned that her husband was safe, as were the rest of the passengers and crew of Flight 516. Tragically, 5 of the 6 people on the Coast Guard plane died on the spot.
Damn.
Only the captain survived, but he was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. The investigation revealed that the disaster was caused by several factors. First, the Coast Guard pilot either didn't hear or didn't understand the controller's instruction to stay off the runway. Second, he turned off his radio to switch to another channel, missing the clearance for Flight 516 to land. And third, the airport was overwhelmed by the New Year holiday rush, and there wasn't enough staff to monitor everything. When employers or employees do their jobs poorly, countless innocent lives can be at risk. On December 24th, 2022, a truck set off from Richards Bay, South Africa, to Botswana, carrying a tanker with 60,000 liters of liquefied petroleum gas. However, on Christmas Eve, the driver mistakenly took a wrong turn and ended up in Boksburg. He was trying to get back on route when he came upon a tunnel under a railway crossing. What happened next
That's
will
that truck
remain a
shit.
mystery forever. Whether the driver didn't notice the height restriction sign or if it wasn't
That
there
bitch
at
done
all,
blew
the
up.
truck got stuck right in the middle of the bridge. But that was far from his biggest problem, as within seconds he heard a hissing sound
Whoa.
and smelled gas. The man immediately called an
This
ambulance,
nigga is
feeling dizzy from
stupid.
the toxic fumes, and called the firefighters, fearing the tanker might ignite at any moment. But they didn't make it in time, and at 6:45 a.m., the gas exploded. When the fire engulfed everything around, 2 smaller explosions followed. They were clearly heard in
Damn.
nearby houses and buildings, prompting locals to come out and see what had happened. Among them was
I know that shit
26-year-old
was-
Numitso Mashaba, who lived just 100 meters from the crossing. He left his children with his father in the house and rushed to make sure his wife Neo and his brother were okay. Dozens of people gathered around.
Oh,
the
okay.
flaming
Why they make it
crossing
seem like the
when
nigga
suddenly
died or
a
something?
third and most powerful explosion occurred. Everyone
It's like they got a nigga from the sideline. Like, nigga got pictures and all that shit.
Bro, that's crazy, bro.
I thought the nigga died, or the nigga the kids or some shit like that. That was a little scary. They pump faking in this bitch.
thrown back by the fireball. Their clothes instantly melted onto their bodies, and no one could get up again. The explosion destroyed the railway crossing, the fire truck trying to contain the flames, and several nearby homes and vehicles. The tanker detonated with such force that even a nearby hospital was reduced to ruins. 13 of
Damn,
its
he fucked some
employees
shit
and
up.
24 patients suffered severe injuries and burns. 8 medical workers
Damn.
and the driver in the hospital parking lot were killed. The Mashaba couple didn't survive either. And
Oh,
in the
shit,
days
they
following
did
the
die.
disaster, the death toll rose to 41. Moreover,
What
Hey,
the
bro.
fuck?
Hey,
We're at
bro.
the epicenter
If
of the
y'all want us
explosion.
to do a separate video just on this, y'all comment. This is actually crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm tired, but this kind of just woke me up. That was crazy. Bro was literally driving a tanker truck and literally got stuck. Hey, bro, y'all truckers out there, bro, y'all need to pay attention to y'all signs, man. That's crazy, bro. You just caused a whole massacre.
Are still considered
He
missing.
got 41
This gruesome
body.
reminder shows that
Man,
observing
06,
such
he worse than
actions
Luke
from a
Kill.
distance can be dangerous, and it's best to stay far away. Authorities were unable to determine who was to blame. Unfortunately, in many cases like this, those responsible avoid punishment, even if their mistakes have claimed dozens of lives. On the evening of July 2nd, 2024, a
Crazy, man. Watch out for them street
in
signs,
the
man.
Hathras district of India was almost empty. Just hours earlier, the scene of an event shocked the world. It began as a typical Hindu prayer gathering. Local guru, Bola Baba, organized an assembly of his
Bola
followers.
Baba.
He received official
all
permission to
red.
host an event for 5,000 people. However, his followers numbered in the tens of thousands. And as a result,
Damn.
the area became tightly packed with people. This was despite the 38 degrees Celsius heat. Entire families, including many women and children, stood there all day to listen to the guru's sermon. But the heat and suffocating conditions turned into a living hell. When the sermon
Man,
ended,
especially all them
thousands
niggas
of
in
people
there.
surged toward the
They
guru,
probably
trying to
musty.
touch him. The volunteer guards couldn't calm the
They
crowd,
for sure
and
musty.
visitors began literally trampling each other. Those who tripped had no chance of getting up and were trampled to death. Moreover,
Damn.
due to the intense pressure, even those still standing were suffocating because their lungs had no room to expand. When the crowd finally thinned out, the ground was littered with bodies. It took a long
Damn.
time to identify them all, but it was eventually revealed that 116 people perished in the stampede, the vast majority of whom were women and children. Unfortunately,
That's why you gotta watch out
stampedes
for concerts
during
and shit like
religious
that with too many
pilgrimages
people,
happen
bro.
all too often in
India
Yet
already
it
got
seems
too
as
many
though
niggas
no one truly
anyways.
takes action. These tragedies could be avoided if people recognized the risks of mass gatherings in time and left before disaster struck. Let's hope.
Hey, man, great video, man.
Yeah, bro.
Echoes, this
I done fell asleep during the YouTube video, bro. Y'all gotta comment, bro. Please, bro.
He said, please. Hey, man, it's your boy Melon, man.